I became an artist a long time ago, and I believe that you're an artist from the moment you're born. It's staying that way that's the issue. But I did study textile design at Grade School of Art, and from there I worked in the textile industry in a knitwear business, and then did teacher training and spent over 10 years actually working in the field of special needs, and that's where I really learned to adapt techniques and adapt approaches to allow people to experience art where there were barriers there, barriers to communication and barriers to their motor skills, and this is what now really is at the centre of the work I do. I work for myself now, and my business is called Lightbulb Arts, and it is all about the health and well-being benefits of taking part in art activities. And I believe that whatever stage or age you're at, you can, there's something for you.
Yeah.
My textile background's helped with that because it's very tactile and involves lots of different materials. My own artwork now is multimedia, so it's very mixed media and very tactile, and that sort of approach really works in the sort of workshops I'm doing at the moment now. I chose to work with people with dementia. It seemed like actually a natural follow-on from the type of work I was doing with children and young people in the special needs school. I also was very aware of the way that I worked in reducing language and adapting the tools and things you're using in daily life. I was putting that into practice with my own dad when he was diagnosed with dementia.
Right.
And I started to do it naturally, and then kind of realised that that's what I was doing, and it was working for me. Very, very simple things initially, like when you have asked a question and you don't get an answer right away. Us as people, we try and then rephrase that question, and we keep making it more and more complicated by adding in more and more words. So just saying the same simple thing more than once and giving someone time to think about it is, a really, really easy way to make life easier for someone who's finding it increasingly difficult to cope with our complicated world. Well, I think the type of artwork that I do, it has therapeutic value. It's not art psychotherapy in as much as it's one-to-one and confidential. The sort of artwork I do is very social and is nearly always in groups. So, and the therapeutic value of that comes from engaging with a lot of different textures and materials, making that connection with something you do makes a mark or makes a difference. And also, while you're busying away at doing something, you actually find that language and conversation flow a bit more easily as well. When you're not sitting like we are just now, right opposite each other, and it's quite intimidating. When you're maybe side by side and you're a bit busy, something will come out. People will start to chat in ways that might have been a bit awkward otherwise. And the lovely thing about art is that you have something tangible at the end of it. So for someone with dementia, you don't have to remember to tell your family or other people you meet what you did this morning, because you've actually got something there that can tell that story for you. And in that way, visual art becomes a really important form of communication. Art and Healthcare they're an Edinburgh-based charity. They were set up originally to manage an art collection that they have. They have it in Edinburgh, and they lend artworks to hospitals, medical centres, anywhere where being able to show artwork can improve the surroundings, can improve health and well-being and how people feel. And that was what they were originally set up as, to lend out their art collection. But it's probably about 5 years now since they started to do an outreach programme. And the outreach programme involves all professional artists going to healthcare settings and doing either one-offs or a series of workshops. And the art and healthcare collection still features, because you can take pieces of artwork with you. So you bring the artwork to the group, and that can either be used to stimulate the artwork or just really like you're bringing along a piece of art to be seen. But what I realised was that a lot of the collection in that way was never being seen, because it's large scale and you can't hop on a bus with it, and you can only take 2 or 3 pieces at once. And so I was very anxious to make more of the collection, and that was where I started the idea that if we had a book, then we could take it with us to our workshops. And if we made that book accessible to everyone, then we had a useful resource that could be used even when we're not there. And this is where art and healthcare have been forward thinking and branching out a bit more from their core collection. And we worked on this book and launched it as part of the Illuminate Festival in October. It was written really with people suffering from dementia in mind, although that doesn't mean that everyone else can't tap into it too. But what I realised with my dad again was that he still liked the idea and the action of looking at a book or a newspaper, but he was no longer reading the text. He was maybe still able to read headlines, and he would be able to comment on a picture, but the text was largely irrelevant. And this is where we have an issue in sort of your average bookshop, because you will either find an art book with fantastic pictures but lots of inaccessible language along with it, or you will find simplified language but it's a children's book and it's just not age appropriate if you're in your 80s. So this book was designed to marry the two together. And what we then have is pictures from the collection, but we have headline style simple language to go along with it, and it's designed to stimulate a bit of conversation, perhaps suggest an activity or suggest something that you might do if you're stuck, but if you just respond to the picture, that is really what it's all about as well. And we thought through how the text would be laid out, what maybe some background colours would be, what's easier to see, because chances are your eyesight's not perfect either when you're elderly, and trying to make it even a size that was easy to hold, not something that was large and flapping about or so small that you couldn't see the pictures. So everything was thought through to make this book as accessible as possible. Well, in the workshops I do, I usually have some activities that are really universal and they work very easily for everyone. So we might do something initially around a craft, something like marbling, some very easy paper making or some stenciling, and at that point I'm getting to know the group, and by really picking up on some little signs about what might interest someone, what they seem to find appealing or not, I then plan from then on. And my ideal for a group then is that everyone might be sitting doing something different. Someone who would enjoy painting can do that. Someone who would enjoy textiles, something a bit more tactile, can be doing that. Someone who wants to build something can be doing, that activity as well. Because my art workshops are not about a set theme and a set outcome. Because that's just really testing how good you are at following steps. It's not really getting to the core of what you might enjoy and what means something to you. And I really strongly feel that even at a stage of later dementia, when you're not chatting to people, you might be quite closed off, your motor skills have deteriorated as well, and you're not remembering family photos and things like that. Art's got a real place because you can interact in that moment with something that you find interesting, and that's fine, that's great. And I really strongly believe that then for the rest of the day, your mood is a bit calmer, your mood is a bit happier, we're less likely later on in the day to see some stress and distress and challenging behaviours that can be a feature of dementia as well. So it's far from being something that is frivolous. It's something that could be really contributing to the care of people with dementia. And you don't have to remember anything to do this. It doesn't rely on reminiscence that some other approaches to dementia do. It might bring up something or a memory, and that's great, but it's not forced, and therefore there's no failure there. You don't end up feeling like, oh, you didn't remember something else. And equally, I think it's very valuable for the families because they hopefully can see, maybe in some very small ways, but there are still instances when you can enjoy a bit of life, or you might do something together, based around a common activity, or have something to base a wee conversation on, because that does get harder and harder.